Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
We All Be is honored to have on the one and only brother C.J. Wilson, who is a former NFL football player and also a biblical scholar, historian extraordinaire, and author of the Biblical Black History. And also he's working on a documentary as well. Brother Wilson, how are you doing today?
My man, I'm blessed, man. I'm happy to be here. We All Be TV, baby.
I appreciate it, man. I'm very humble.
Let's get it.
The hell yeah, I'm a Cowboys fan too, so I might actually buy some Cowboys stuff. I mean, I'm in Memphis, right? It's like one of Cowboy country. It's part of Cowboy country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here and I live here in Dallas, man. So I'm deep in the heart of it.
And also, you're very outspoken too, as well. I appreciate what you did in terms of talking about the issue with Jerry Jones and the flag the anthem rather with Colin Kaepernick, kneeling and stuff like that. So you're not afraid to speak your mind, which is very, very good in a day and age like this as a man of color. So I just want to talk to you. Why is it important to know that Black people existed during biblical times?
Well, it has a lot to do with conditioning. And as an athlete, I can say that on more levels than just the psychological gymnastics of the thing. I can actually, and I'll give some of that while we're talking because I think it's very important for people to understand that the story that's told that has disconnected a lot of our youth from God has been told wrong. Mm. And so as a historian, that's that's my love. I do that, it's my passion. You don't have to pay me to do this, and I do it. I've just found out the truth. And then finding out the truth, I was told by several people, hey, this might not be something you want to put out because the people may not want it. This may be something you don't need to put out because, people have been conditioned so much to think the opposite, white Jesus, Chinese Jesus, all different types of Jesus and all this except for the real Jesus. And so what I did in the book was just went through and told the truth, man. That's pretty much all I did was went in and told the truth. The Lord blessed it and it ended up being Amazon's best-selling book.
That's amazing. And you published it yourself, correct? Self-published?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I believe in that. I believe in that, man. Like with what you've done, just doing it yourself, having the courage, man, to step out on faith and walk into the woods, man, to create your own lane. It was Amazon called me, and it was somebody else. It was a white lady, matter of fact, had called me, and they tried to buy it before I even published it. When I first put it up for editing, for like $40,000. Wow. And I knew then that I had something. Like when Baba was telling you about a book that he had wrote, and then when he was actually doing stand-up, and the two white guys came into a bar and was trying to pay him money not to go back up on stage and do a show. When he said that he knew then that he had something special. When I got that phone call, man, I literally was like, okay, I think I got something special here.
So what got you passionate about pursuing the Bible or studying religion? Were you always like this growing up, or how did you get involved in that pursuit?
Well, I ran from it early on. The first book I ever learned how to read was the Bible, a little old red Bible, when I first started learning words. And I come from nothing, man. So that Bible was even given to my mom to give to me. And so I'd carry that thing and have a little pen with me, and I would underline stuff and all this. And by the time I got to the end of it, I was ready to be done with it. And as I grew up, and you out in Memphis, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for my middle school years, man, for a good 4 or 5 years, man, we lived in Ripley, which is about an hour north of you.
Oh, wow.
On Interstate 55 last I remember. It was there, man, when I started running from what he would give me. And I'd get in trouble a lot and all that stuff, man. And so that was my safe haven. And so for all them years, he let me run until he called me to him and was like, look, there's something I want to show you. And at first I was afraid of it. Not scared, but I was afraid. And so it's like he what I saw the world as, he pulled them glasses. He put some glasses on me, man, and I can't see it like someone else do.
Mm-hmm.
So I can actually see it as if it's actually happening, like I'm there. So the way I even describe it in this book and the one that I'm about to release is it's like I try to walk you through it to where you can see it, where it's personal. Because a lot of the way that it was written doesn't seem personal, but the way that I wrote it is personal because that's how he shows it to me is personal. So I've always had this in me. It was just gathering the courage to be able to do it, man. And playing in the NFL made it harder because you're taught and taught to toe the line. And if you allow me to, I'll go ahead. I'll break that down too, man. I think this is important for people and parents to understand this, especially those who want to live vicariously through their kids. It's real slavery, man. What I've been blessed to do is to buy my slavery. And when I was inside of it, that's when I noticed it. I was like, wait a minute. The combine that as a little kid, you grow up seeing and, I want to play ball and you go to the combine, it's all on TV. You go there, man, and it's like a real meat market. You're sitting around with all of these guys that's going to be millionaires, but you got billionaires in the stands with guys that they paying, a little money and they looking at you. And so, man, you go in, they make you strip off everything except for like some tights, like some Speedos. Mm-hmm. They weigh you. They go in, they measure every part of you. Whatever you think that means, they measure every part of you, Brother Hurt. They fly in the best doctors from around the world to make sure that you're able to work. You go in, you perform the way they want you to perform. They go through like a bidding process for you, the whole nine. The whole thing, and you as a Cowboy fan, is the whole thing of it is you got to be able to play 3 years and 3 games to be fully vested. Well, the average is less than 3 years. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of guys that didn't get a chance to buy their freedom because the system is set up for you not to be able to get your freedom. And so while you're in it, you're seeing slavery. And this guy's going to take offense to what I'm saying, but, there's books and the dynamics of what I'm saying is undeniable. So if you save up enough money to be able to, to buy your own freedom to the point to where you can purchase your home, your the property, the stuff that you have, when you can say, I got a title to it and that's mine, it gives you the ability to live different, and a lot of guys don't. And so what I was blessed and able to do, man, was to be able to save enough money to be able to do that. That when I was done playing those 5 years in Carolina, then I came back and played 1 year for your Cowboys. Mm-hmm. I was ready to hang it up, man, and was blessed enough to be able to have a support system in play, man, where I could actually buy my own freedom. So noticing city to city that you go to, that I go into these chapels and these churches and you see white Jesuses everywhere and all this, and you got books that you read that's got white Jesuses in there. That kind of made me wonder, this dude went nowhere. He never even went to Europe. What are we talking about here? Mm. And that's what kind of sparked it. Just simple things. Going to black churches and seeing white Jesus. And for some people, they may say, well, you're making something racial where it's spiritual. Well, you're talking to a spiritual people and you made it racial. So I'm going to reverse what they did and put the information out there that's affordable for people to be able to see in detail to where they can actually start the reconditioning process. And it's tough, but that's what kind of sparked it, man, was just going to those different places and seeing all this stuff. I love it.
When you said all the stuff you're saying, I got so many images in my head. But you actually said you played 6 years in the league, right, in the NFL?
Yep. Yes,
and then you said the average is 3 years.
Yep.
See, a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, because we look at some of these stars like Tom Brady, they say they play forever, right? Or even
Yep.
Well, I also thought of Adrian Peterson, like the situation he's in right now, where he's over $100 million in debt.
Yep.
So he's really playing when he don't. He's like basically playing when he probably want to retire right now, right? He's forced to play because of that situation.
Yep, you're not free. You're not free. And here's the crazy thing, brother. I never made that type of money. Mm-hmm. I never made into the mega millions and all that type of stuff. And I never did it. Never did. I wasn't blessed enough to even get those type of contracts. Mm-hmm. But it don't cost that much to buy your freedom because you got to be internally set free first. There's guys that's in the NFL right now, man, that listen to you, but are afraid to actually act on the information that comes out of what you're putting out there. news-free Dixie for the 21st century. You can't really say that on no mic.
Right. I hear you.
Yeah, why would I say that on the mic and that messes up my image? That messes up, how much money I can actually make in this game. I'd much rather be quiet and just take this money and then come back later. Guys don't realize, like, that's not how you were even set free.
Wow.
There was people willing to actually to take that walk and say, you know what? Nah, I'm going to look out for little brother and them and little sister and them behind me, and I'm going to bite this bullet. Because if the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, that means everything in it is his. If I'm a child of the king, that means that I got to share certain elements, but if I claim it as mine and I'm going to go for it and I'm going to leave it on him because he's my provider. Guys don't think of it that way. They think of it as, well, I'm the provider. No, all he asks you to do is work, because if a man don't work, he don't what?
Eat.
Boom. So when you say your praise, said my daily, when Jesus went through and started talking about the prayer when he said his daily bread, well, you can save up what you need, but you live daily. Let him provide the rest. Those guys don't think like that, though. And so when you got guys like Jerry Jones and, these billionaire owners that act a certain way because they got billions or whatnot, they don't understand, man. Like, none of that really. They still toting King Tut around. You can't take none of that stuff with you. He's still touring. 3,000 years later, this brother's still touring. They can't take it with them. But again, these guys don't think like that. They're afraid to actually step out on faith and trust God for who he is. And I did it, and I don't have any regrets about it at all.
That's interesting.
Kept me running into you, brother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's awesome. I was thinking about also, what are your thoughts about the late, great Reggie White, who also had his own, I guess, path towards religious understanding at the end of his life? Have you, checked out anything he was doing, or what are your thoughts about him?
Oh, man, Reggie was big, man. Reggie was really big, man. It's you can't even go in. I couldn't even go in Philadelphia. Like when you would go into the stadium to play, man, they still got stuff up about Reggie, everywhere. And when we would go and do the chapel service there in Philadelphia, the chaplains that they would have come in from the different churches and stuff, man, to speak to us, like they would say what they say, and then they would always reference Reggie. And as a black man doing that, man, like that was quite disturbing to the league. Right. Reggie changed the way it is that people looked at the NFL. Period. So yeah, he's a definite icon in my eyes, man. Old 92, baby.
Oh yeah, cause I think about the things he was saying. Some of the stands he took, it was very controversial. This is before social media and stuff like that. But he stood his ground. I respect that as well. And he wasn't, like you said, a hell of a football player. But also, like, it's interesting you talk about, like how you was able to pay your way out of the NFL system, out of that league. And you look at the fact that they say that a lot of the players, no matter how much money they made within 5 years, a lot of the players are broke after retirement. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad you asked that question. From a young boy, we don't get the type of education, man. And I don't mean school, and I want to be clear. We don't get the type of education, man, growing up for people who aspire to become professional athletes. We don't. White kids or people who are affluent, they speak certain languages in the house. They provide education to their kids, and it gives them the opportunity to accept it or deny it. We don't get that. We just go out there, run fast, jump high, work hard. When it comes, you buy your mama something, get your brother something, get your sister something, do something for everybody. Go hard, go to the strip club, blow your money, do the dumb stuff. That's the education. So if you do anything opposite of that, you different. You're not gonna make it. You're not one of them. So that education teaches you how to be a glorified slave. The whole system of football is set up really for the Roman Coliseum system. They go in, as they did back thousands of years ago. They go in the places in Africa, places where darker skinned people are. They take them after they enslave their people, as our people were enslaved. They take the most athletic of them. They take them and they put them in small arenas first. That's what you got your high school system. And after your high school system, you do good, they move you up to a bigger arena. And after your bigger arena, then they get you set for Rome. When you go to Rome, that's the NFL. When you get in that bad boy, oh man, you have no education. All you know is how to survive. So you got guys that's taking medicine just to practice. Every day, just to practice. You're not taught that, hey man, look, I know you were conditioned to be a slave, but here's an offering for you for freedom. You need to determine, what type of house you want to live in. Mm-hmm. All right. You need to determine, when the checks stop coming, you need to actually know, okay, well, how much can I really live off of based off of what I come from? That's what a lot of guys forget. Like my wife and I right now, man, I'm just going to be frank with you. We live off of because I'm a teacher. Mm-hmm. I've been blessed to live in a house, in a 5,000 square foot house, and literally on a teacher's salary. Me and my wife together with a 4-year-old daughter, man, we live off about $2,500 to $2,800 a month. That's just my mortgage. That's not everything else that we have, or none of that. That's just the mortgage. And the only reason why we're doing that is because wife is say for the credit purposes. Let's just pay this thing on out. When we get ready to take care of it, we take care of it. Mm-hmm. Everything else I have a title to. And so that's why, I get phone calls from guys asking me, like, how in the world do you do this? Some guys call me and ask me for money on different things and stuff. And I just be like, there's no way you can make this amount of money, man, that you have and not, like, secure the bag to the point to where I'm securing it for my family. So if all else breaks, we can still coast and be good. Right. But when you bred to be a slave, man, when you offer freedom, you become a sharecropper if you ain't willing to go. And that's what a lot of guys do. I'd much rather sharecrop for the rest of my life than to go be free. I said, no, I'm going to save my money. And the way I did it, and I'll just share it with you, brother, here's what I did. Mm-hmm. My first year in the league, when I first got active, I was making $8,000 a week.
That's like good money for anybody. $8,000 a week. Wow.
Yes. $8,000 a week. All right. What I did was I learned from watching a quick segment on Oprah. Mm-hmm. I said, you know what I'm gonna do? My rent that I'm paying for this apartment in Charlotte was about like $1,500 because it was right downtown, right across the street from the stadium. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm gonna do that. I got a card note, so I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take like $2,000, and that's gonna take care of all of my bills for the month. It's 4 weeks. In this month. So that's $32,000. I'm going to take $2,000. That's going to take care of all my bills. All right. This other 30, man, I'm going to take $1,000 and say that's what I need to, if I'm going to help my people or whatever back home. That's that fund. All right. I'm still working with 29 now. Okay. Well, this is what I'm going to do with that 29. Boom. I'm going to take a couple of thousand or whatever. I'm going to take like $1,500 to $2,000 and put it in a separate account. I'm going to let that be my play money. Mm-hmm. I ain't got to worry about food because you're getting it cooked for you. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, I'm not finna go blow no money. Live right across the street from the strip club. Never went in.
You read about mine.
Man, never went in.
I want to ask you that. How you go to those trap falls with women, though? I mean, with child support and stuff, man. Wow. Okay.
Oh, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's crazy because it's like the luring. I was called gay. I was called a nigger that want to be different. Mm-hmm. I was called all kind of stuff, a sellout, all this, because I would go and do the same things those other dudes would. Like, I literally sat in a room with a dude, and I ain't going to say his name, but he is coaching in the NFL right now. I say that much. That I played with. Y'all can do the math. If you find out what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about, he coaching in the league right now. Cat sat me in a room and said, say, CJ, man, why you don't go out when we go out? You don't seem like no team player, man, by doing that. I said, well, that ain't what I'm interested in, man. I got something I got to do. Well, you can't get with us. You too cool for us. We don't ever see you with no women or nothing like that, man. That like just straight up, are you gay? Mm-hmm. I laughed at him, but he was serious. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, okay, I see what this is. So I'm telling him like, no, man, it ain't nothing like that. I just got something I got to do. Same guy blowing $5,000, $10,000 a week. Same guy about a year and a half, 2 years after he done playing. Got a mortgage off houses and cars and all that stuff because it's gone. Mm-hmm. Same guy. Got a gig to actually help coach in the league to be able to salvage his career and take care of his family. And I'm happy that happened for him. But it's stuff like that, man, that, you know, that I had to go through in order to get to. And I never lost my direction. So that other 28,000 that I was talking about that I never spent,
Right.
and I put that to the side.
I mean, as a young man, like, obviously you very disciplined. A lot of people ain't disciplined like that. I mean, where do you get that discipline from? Then, if it's not taught in schools, where did you get it from?
My mother, man. My mother, man. My mom, man. Brother Hurt, I grew up in the house, man. I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
We moved when we was here. My mom worked. I'm the youngest of three. And my dad, you know, I love my dad as a dad. That's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
They went their separate ways, did their thing. She got married again. We moved up there to Tennessee. When we got up there, man, I was living in a van for about 6 months, totally illegal. I was going to school, being dropped off in a van, the same van that I was sleeping in, with my mom, my stepdad, and my two older brothers. We went from living in a van to, on Saturdays and sometimes Sundays, we get a days in, get a $20, $30 room or whatever at one of them hotels up in Dyersburg and Covington and Millington and stuff like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
In Frazier, we get a spot. Yeah. And we go in there, man, and and that's how I would live for that went from 6 months to a year. From there, we went to living in a flea-infested house where you could literally just put your hand against the carpet and it pop up. So I learned early, whatever it is that you got, man, like, if you don't maintain what you have, it won't be maintained. And so from that, we moved back into the van, and then we moved into this store that my stepdaddy finally got, a clothing store. So we would sleep underneath the racks on top of boxes, man, and still go to school. And then from there, he saved up that money and bought a house right in the middle of the city, a 3-story house. We literally went from sleeping underneath the racks of clothes and on top of boxes, man, to a 3-story house. And I learned then, like, man, this is crazy that we going through this, but I can pull something from it. And from there, man, when we moved back, they divorced. My mama had nothing. So my dad stepped in, helped out, pay stuff. And if I didn't eat at school, Brother Hurt, I didn't eat at home. I ate from the food barn, the donated food. So people would look at it and be like, you know, this dude's, all region, all state basketball player. And then, you know, he became an all state football player. And folk didn't know, man, I couldn't even go home and shower. Like, the place that we was living in didn't even have no running water for a year. We would have to go down to this place called Rip Griffith gas station, get buckets of water out of the truckers thing and literally pour it into the toilets, man, to flush the water. And being that I was the youngest, I was the one having to walk outside, man, and flush all that stuff. So my mentality is different. Like, I didn't see the NFL the way people may have dreamed of. I couldn't even invite my best friend to come to stay all night at my house because we didn't have no running water. So when you ask, like, how do you have the discipline, man, growing up, not having, and then playing a part to people where people didn't really understand, like, I'm in every newspaper, I'm in all these newspapers and all this stuff, getting all this attention and love. Folks don't understand, like, man, I can't go home and eat. I'm not going to take food out of my mama's house. Like, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to get upset at me because I wouldn't eat at the house, but I'm thinking, like, I'm the youngest. You know, my oldest brother gone, my middle brother gone. It's just me. Ain't nobody helping so like that. So I'm finna go and get it. And man, that's what made my discipline. Never went to a college party. And I know some people that's like, come on, man, you tripping. Never went. There's newspaper articles, and I'll send you one after we get off. There's newspaper articles, man, that they printed at Baylor of guys literally trying to come into my room, like breaking my door to try to get me to come outside to go to a party.
Wow.
Like, I never went. Because in my mind, Brother Hurt, I'm just going to be honest. In my mind, all I was thinking was, it would be just my luck that I never went and did any of this stuff. I go this one time, a fight break out or something stupid, and my name come up in it. And I got my whole city on my back. And my mama, who ain't got nothing, she got to read this and defend me to folk. And I may not have even done anything. I'm not finna do that to her. I'm just going to play it safe, do it like I do it. I met my wife, my beautiful wife there. And people ask her, like, is that for real? Is he lying? And she laughs and she tell him, like, yeah, I was in school with him. He never went. I was afraid to like get off my discipline track. But that discipline led me to where I am now, and it led me to sitting here talking with you.
I mean,
I'll never regret it.
Yeah, I just found it amazing that you had that type of discipline. I'm just thinking about, I remember I saw an interview with Mike Tyson some years ago. He said, you want to see a tragedy, give a young man at 20 who never had anything $1 million.
Yeah.
And the fact that you had the discipline, I don't know where you got. I mean, you got it from your mom, but I'm saying, I'm just thinking about all the beautiful women, man. I don't even know their lifestyle like that, but I'm thinking about the women that coming at you and the prestige. I don't see how you could. It's like, it reminds me of David Robinson almost, who remained a virgin till he got married. Like he was able to not seek all those things and be disciplined.
Yeah.
And AC Green from the LA Lakers. I mean, you hang with Magic and the Lakers. Come on, Showtime. How the hell you was able to do that? So did they nickname you Preacher or something, or Virgin? What were your nicknames? They call you the Virgin Preacher? What did they call you?
Man, it was the first time I saw on that level, man, where you fly in to New York and get us at our hotel, and and I hope people understand this, the type of pressure this is, and I'm gonna answer what you said directly. Bro, when you walk in there, man, they got it. It's a walkway you walk through, and they got security that'll designate kids that, kids' parents come up, they just want you to sign, shake hands, take pictures. But they got a separate section, man, where this young lady's been waiting, man, for months for you to get there. Months. They show up 2 hours, an hour and a half before the plane even land in the city, and they go get set up. And when you get there, man, it's up to you. You walk through, go upstairs, get your card from the people, go to your room. You come back downstairs, man, and all you got to do is literally pick out which one that you want.
Wow. And
as ladies bring themselves to that, like some of the most physically beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. It's not like all of that. Like literally would sit there and just wait for you to point them out. So when people see stuff on TV, like, how in the world did this happen with this guy and all this? Man, there's young ladies. I've witnessed it. This happened to me in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We was getting ready to play against the Dolphins in the preseason. It was a young lady got a job working at the hotel we were staying at just so she could be room service. And when I say she looked like something that you make up on I don't know, like a Beyonce mixed with whatever it is that you consider to be physically beautiful, whatever. She was that.
I mean, you know what?
Room service and you don't order it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think about that now, though. I think about what's going on now, post Me Too, Time's Up, and, all this stuff, even with Kobe. So it really like you did the right thing for you. I think you avoid a lot of troubles and pitfalls. I just think that it's crazy because it's kind of crazy now. I'm saying, I don't know if they could really, would you be more paranoid now than even when you were playing with the situation climate in the country now?
Oh, yeah. But see, the guys got non-disclosure deals now, man.
Oh, they got to sign that agreement. Okay.
Oh, man. Oh, they know now. When you go to a place now, man, guys have literally, I got to print something before I leave the house. Man, what you doing? I got to take this with me, homie. What's that? I don't worry about it. I'll show you. You get on the plane, go somewhere, young lady come to the room, or you finna leave and go somewhere, man, they have them young ladies sign them non-disclosure things, man. It's terrible.
Wow,
it's terrible.
But what do you say about players now who might still get in trouble with the opposite sex? I mean, like how the media spins it. Although police might do an investigation and find nothing wrongdoing, but your name in the court of public opinion is still, it takes a hit. You have any advice for young guys right now in the league who might be going through some stuff?
I'll say the same thing that I told Jerry Jones on his own radio station.
Mm-hmm.
You got to wake up, brother. Black. You're going to have to wake up who you are. The persona that's been attached to your name and the team that you have to help bring you money is going to at one day go away. It happens to all of us. You're going to go to sleep and wake up who you are. Now, it's either you can let money taint that, fame taint that, attention taint that, or you can wake up and say, this is who I really am, and I'm going to stand up as a man. Even if you don't know how to do it, just look in the mirror and say, I'm going to defend you. Because for me, that's all I did. Literally, that's all you really got to do, man. And before you say a word, just ask God to give you the right words to say and go from there. If you living in truth, and you out here doing all this wild, crazy stuff and all this stuff, like some of the stuff that's going on now. You see, even with Zeke's situation, man, it's gonna be hard for you to stand up in truth because your truth might incriminate you. But if you stand on truth, man, it don't need to be validated by nobody. To validate itself. So that's the advice I would give to him, man. Just stand up on it, because one day, when all that goes away, you're going to have to sleep with that. And I don't want my daughter, I don't want nobody's kids to have to grow up and Google you and find out that you played a part, that you didn't necessarily have to play. People died for us, man, and people got beaten, all kind of stuff for us, so we don't have to do that. But when you don't know your power, when you don't know who you really are, you can be manipulated by that stuff. And I thank God that I wasn't afraid of that stuff at all, and still not. And I'm gonna get some kickback and some.
Right.
I'm gonna get some kickback from this, but man, I love that stuff. That's only fuel for me.
All right, actually, Ben, were you able to go to church on the regular as a player, as an active player, an NFL football player?
No, they bring the chaplains. Every city you go to, they bring the chaplain to you.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, they bring a guy to you, and it would always be someone different. It got to the point that where some of the leaders, older leaders on the team, started asking me to kind of lead the chaplain service and stuff like that. My last couple of years in Carolina, but yeah, they bring the guys to you.
Why do you think they ask you to lead the meetings or the prayers or the services?
I think more so it was my life. Because if I'm telling you something or giving you advice on something, then you see my life. If I'm not living, if I'm not out there, and you like, man, this dude here, man, he's consistent with who he is, and he's not afraid to, be who he is, then, they start asking me to do it, and the first elements of biblical Black history start coming out in those Bible study sessions, because it was the players asking for it. I was asked to be a player coach, the first one in the Panthers' history. Literally, like in our room, in a secondary room, I went from being a rookie in there to in my second year, man. At the end of my second year, them asking me to be the leader in the room, to the point where I was pulled in the room by the head coach, and asked to be the coach in the room. They had a guy who was just the figurehead, but I was basically the coach in the room for my last couple of years that I was there in Carolina. So they just saw that I lived that life. Like, I wasn't out there trying to be something that I'm not. I never have been. I love me. I love me for me. And I don't say that to be, arrogant or anything like that. I appreciate who God allowed me to become. And I feel like that's good enough. And that's all I teach my daughter, baby. You're beautiful and you're good enough. At the end of the day, you're good enough. And that's all you can really ask for. So when they saw that, they was like, yeah, we want you to do some of our sessions.
Did you go to church as a kid on a regular?
Yeah, I did. But it was boring.
Yeah. What was the denomination? What denomination?
It was Baptist, man.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I came up in the Baptist church, man. But I learned something. Now, like you said, I learned something, man. We done messed this whole thing up. Brother, religion, well, I got to speak like, I got to say it how Bible works. We got to speak like, our grandmother.
Right.
We've never really been taught what real religion is, according to the book that we were given. Jesus' brother James said religion is taking care of the orphans and widows. Religion ain't a belief structure. It's the term that we was taught. To think that religion is belief structure and it's not. I think it's James 1, the first chapter, and like the last two verses of the book, man, he tells you. Jesus never even talks really about, he never really talks about belief structure. As in terms of religion. Only his brother, throughout that whole book, his brother is the only one that speaks to it, and who would know better? So for me, they miss me with the whole religious aspect of it. Like, that's why, again, my book is Biblical Black History, because that's how when I actually look at it and kind of understand it for what it is. Like, no, you're not telling me what to believe. You're offering me something to believe. And I can't call that religion, because religion is taking care of widows and orphans. So I'm religious when I do those things. I'm not religious because of my belief structure. So the whole world has been deceived when they're using this crazy, because Satanists know this. I'm going to leave that alone, too.
I don't know. You put it out there already. Food for thought. It's very provocative, sir.
Yeah, it's just something to look at, man. I mean, if Jesus himself never really addresses it, man, and the way churches are set up now is completely wrong. There's a reason why churches are failing now is because ministers, preachers, pastors fail to realize the early church was the most successful because, A, they didn't have church in the same place. That way, I don't have to keep paying money at this church for you to maintain this church. It's even in teaching as a teacher, you get more learning experience from people who learn in different places. That's why they say you travel to broaden your scope. You learn more when you travel, when you're learning on the move. So the early church actually would have church in different people's houses. So when people was trying to find them, they couldn't necessarily find them to persecute them like that. They was always moving around in different places. That way the community shared the load. You got preachers, pastors now that's concerned about, well, brother, sister, we can't really do that. We want to get a centralized place. Okay, we want a centralized place for people to come to. Well, that ain't what's in that book.
And I'll think about, go ahead.
Well, see, that's a part of the reason why you see people that fall away from churches now, big and small, because people don't have roles. Well, if we have it at different people's houses, guess what? Everybody got a role. Right. So if you fall away, then that shows you not doing your part. But if I'm always coming to this building, you always asking me for money, and if I got everything down, devotion, prayer, sing after sing, preach after preach, then pass up offering. Look, man, that's tedious. That ain't what it's supposed to be. But again, you're dealing with religion, and that's what religion teaches. You're dealing with tradition. That's what tradition teaches. But when you talk about that book, that's not what that book teaches. And I know I'm making a whole bunch of preachers and pastors upset by what it is I'm saying, but I challenge anyone to find me anywhere in that book opposite of what it is that I just said. It's all there. Paul created most of the churches in the New Testament, which is the new churches that spread throughout the world. That brother wasn't in church long. Jesus was only in church twice. Oops, I'm not supposed to say that either.
Oh, well, I was thinking, though, you saying now that Jesus was very nomadic from what I gather. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you moved around a lot?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because it's like the spirit that's inside of your body, Brother Hurd, wants to move. It's not a dormant spirit. It's active because your God is active. And so if you constantly like in the same space doing the same thing, it'll get used to that, and that you'll get frustrated at times and don't even realize why you're frustrated. Yeah. You want to get outside of your body sometimes, don't even realize why you want to get outside of your body. That's because your spirit's trying to tell you, like, no, man, I was created to do more, to be different, to literally to fly, to do these things. Right. And it can be done in this body, but we are hindering us. So these pimps and preachers, and sometimes you can't tell the difference. And I'm not anti-preacher, any of that. I've been ordained as a deacon, so I know my role. Globally, I know my role. So with that being the case, man, I have the authority according to that book, because only a bishop has more say on church matters than I do. Right. See, I know that. So with that being said, I can call these things out and put it out there for people to be able to understand in a better way. Like, no, just do it the way that the early church did it. That was the most successful. And everything else to go from there.
I mean, you guys, when I talk to people like you, man, my mind just explodes. It's like visuals come out of everywhere. I was thinking like yesterday, I love dancing, man. I love it. I don't care how silly I look. I just love moving and dancing. And I was in an event yesterday at the Stax Museum, and the musicians appreciate that I moved to what they're doing. I said, movement is life. If I stop moving, I'm dead. And you got to be able to move. Like you said, like, I want to be able to move. I love traveling. I hate sitting still in one place. I got to move. I mean, that's just universal law. For every action, there's a reaction. But like what you're saying is too on point to me. But also, I want to touch on this too, because you got me thinking. It is tithing and offering. Is that a scam? Then I mean, like the way they, we got to give money 10%. Is that really not true? Is that listed in the Bible? We must give 10% of our money to the church.
Oh no, that's biblical.
Okay.
But again, the way that they got it set up, see, and Brother Hurts, you on point.
Hey, you gonna be on here again? I already know. We have a couple shows. You're gonna love this. They're gonna want more. Okay.
Okay, look, check this out. Abraham, it was through Abraham that tithing first started, and it was after one deal that he did it. Okay. And he gave it to Methuselah, who was the king of Salem, which became Jerusalem. Okay, the Jeru were black people. The Jeru lived around Jerusalem. The people who inhabited Salem were the Jeru, who were black people. So Jerusalem is built on the concept of black folk. Abraham himself was a dark-skinned man. So when he gave the tithes to Methuselah, when they started the concept of tithing, that was one time. When you move on from that, and I know some pastors are not going to like that, but it's true. You can read it. It's in Genesis. He did it one time. When you get into the Mosaic law, which is where tithing and the elements of it come from, it's so easy. We done complicated it. It's so easy. Brother Hurt, the people were taught to put back money to give to the church one time. They were supposed to take their portion of the year, a tenth of whatever they had, and give to the Lord. And it was up to them to determine when they was going to give that tenth. That tenth was not meant for you to take money out of every one of your checks and give it. That's not what it says. That's what man said. What you're really supposed to do, and the Jewish people are the ones that actually do it the right way. They have you make a pledge. And when you make that pledge, it's literally for a year. So if you come and don't have anything to give, you don't guilt people into giving when they don't have. That tithe is over the course of a year you're supposed to give, and then if you have some extra you want to give, that's what you call your offering. You ain't supposed to be going in there every time, ooh, I got to go pay my tithes. Ooh, we short on money, so we got to pass this collection plate again. No, that's anti-God again. Jesus only in there twice, and he was whooping out people who was doing that foolishness. So that whole premise is, again, you mixing religion with what that book says, because that ain't really a religious book. It's anti-religion if you really understand. If people really understand, it's actually anti-religious the way that they say it. So no, tithing, no.
That could be interesting.
Anti-God.
I was thinking, I'm in Memphis. This is the birthplace of Church of God in Christ. And I'm not just calling them out, but I'm just saying, I just think it's fascinating. I don't live that far away from, there's a temple of deliverance, but I'm in the middle of the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got these grand palaces to God, these multi-million-dollar facilities, and you're in the middle of a neighborhood with no hope. I mean, black folks don't own their homes and, all types of stuff. I mean, what does it say about us then?
Yeah, well, a lot of us have replaced the slave master. Point blank, period. Brother Hurd, what you have to offer, you should be sitting up in a place to where you can vocalize what it is that you're saying. You should be able to speak to a minister and be able to ask for the mic.
Right.
And he give it to you. So you can speak freely. But you're not going to get that because there's a fear of you getting up there and not saying something that aligns itself with that premise. So, like, there's ministers that won't allow for me to come and speak at their churches because of what I just said. And I've sat down with ministers in rooms with them and asked them to find for me in the book where they get this from. And they tell me theology school. Well, theology school ain't this book, and this book ain't your God. So let's just make this very simple. If it ain't in that book, and that book's supposed to be his word, then why are you giving them your word saying it's his word? That makes no sense. That's all the people want, man, is something that's real, something that's genuine. That's all they really want. And if you can give them that and show them, well, look, y'all, this book says that I'm not even supposed to be living off the church. This book says that you're supposed to actually go out, preach, teach, do whatever it is you're supposed to do, and let the people, if they want to offer you something, let them offer. If they don't, then leave it at that. You are not supposed to be actually living off of the church. That money is supposed to be taken and given back out to the community. to the people, the same people that's giving it when they have when they have hard time crisis, is just to take care of the people. That's what that money is supposed to be for, because that's how the early church did it. But you got people who don't want to do that. They feel like, I gotta, my church is my alma mater. That's my pastor and my pastor wife and all that foolishness. And you end up losing your house, losing relationships. Some people even lost their kids and behind trying to take care of their pastors. And a pastor is somewhere laid up, sipping some lemonade and tea, watching Housewives of Whoeverville, and then talking about them when they get up on the pulpit. Like, nah, that's backwards. They living good and you ain't got nothing. That makes no sense. That's anti-God. That's not pro-God. Jesus lived with the people, not above them. His disciples live with the people, not above them. So all of this mega church stuff, and people want to be in gangs, and people want to be in with the in crowd, and you got a lot of that too, man. Slavery did a number on us, man.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a question I love to ask Brother Hurd, and I think you will like this.
Okay.
I've asked the minister this before. What is the difference between us getting on slave ships, sitting on the bottom of the boat, and them casting off a few every now and then to preserve themselves? What's the difference between those who did that and how mega churches and churches are orchestrated today? What's the difference?
I guess, we willfully go into the mega churches, right?
There you go.
So we have free will.
There you go.
Okay. I thought it was going to be a quick question. Okay, I'll walk into it. Okay. It's like you do have free will. So, even though you think like, you might not have any choice. People say, I didn't have no choice. You always have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You might not like the choices.
Yep. And that's why, again, with what I wrote and what I speak when I go to places that speak, man, I ask that question, man, because I think it's important.
Mm-hmm.
We were taken, and you could have fought back. Sometimes you could, just situations are different.
Right.
But there, like you said, there is choice. But when you on the bottom of that boat, man, and you all crammed in there together, some of them was taken and thrown overboard, and they never come back. There's people in churches now that were crammed in, ain't got nothing, and are taken and thrown overboard because you ain't coming enough. You ain't giving tithes enough. You're not giving offerings enough, and people denigrate these people. Ostracize these people, put these people out there, man, and you lose those people forever. They lost to the streets now. They lost to just, I don't believe in God no more. Why? Because I got kicked out of this church. So they was always asking me for some daggone money. Wait a minute. God gonna hold that person who left accountable, but more so, he gonna hold the person who actually threw him overboard accountable. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these people don't want to see that, man. That's a hard thing to look at, but it's true. So a lot of these guys, man, and ladies as well, a lot of them, man, have literally replaced the slave master. They just look like us. They talk like us. Some of them live in similar neighborhoods, and some of them don't. That's all they've done, and it's tax free too. So that's even better. When they could take slaves off of the continent of Africa, man, tax free.
Wow.
What? It's the same thing. I'm gonna get there with a different amount than I left with, but I'm okay with that, because as long as I get there, I'm okay with that. And then I can throw that cross up and be like, oh yeah, ooh, Jesus is all good and our Lord forgive me and all that. Hey man, you want to give an account for that, and that ain't no good. I know I'm not gonna let it fly.
It's interesting. Like, I want to ask you this too. This crossed my mind. But before I say that, I was thinking about Dr. King when you were speaking. Like, I look at a lot of Dr. King. You study his speeches. He don't really talk about Jesus. He talk about social justice. He talks about biblical. He don't really talk about Jesus. And also, he had a lot of enemies within the clergy. He couldn't preach at certain churches, for example. Certain churches would not allow him. Then you had ministers that couldn't stand him. They were happy when he got killed. I'm talking about black ministers.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on Dr. King then, in terms of him and his, message? What do you think about him?
He understood it, and I think what he did was very strategic.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that as long as he's doing that, the people are gonna rave and they ain't gonna do jack. As long as I'm talking about Jesus, I ain't gonna do jack. Let's just be honest.
That's true. It's very pacifying.
Yeah.
Somebody else died for my sins. I don't know how to do no work.
Yeah. And that he's the total opposite of that. That Jesus was nowhere close to being he was nowhere close to being this cool, laid back dude, man, at all. That was never him. But ever. When he went in and ran off from his mom, when I first read it, I knew it was something. I knew this dude had something to him when I first started reading about him. When he left his mom and his earthly daddy. And they were looking for that joker, and when they found him, he's sitting up in the temple preaching to the old folk, telling them what to do. And his mama said, well, where you been? We've been looking all over for you. So I've been out there doing my father's business. Now, what 12-year-old kid going to say something like that to their mama and think it's going to be all good? Mama, wow. I'm doing my daddy's business. Let me go and leave me alone.
Right.
Jesus literally said that. So when you look at that from the point of when he first came onto the scene, man, even to now, he ain't this kumbaya God. But people have been conditioned to think that he is. And so when you say Jesus and you're trying to incite a difference, people fall back. But if I talk about social justice and I say, thank God or thank Jesus, people will fall in. So that's what he did, though. It was all strategy, and it was beautiful. Beautiful strategy that he did, in my opinion.
So is it true to say that we live in a hell right now? Earth is hell?
To a certain degree, absolutely.
Why is that?
Because, first and foremost, let's do this. Hell has not always been. So hell was created, man, when hell was created, and that's going to be the second part of this book. And you getting me to put it out there before I want to put it out there, but it's all good.
Okay.
I'm a guy, so I'm going to put it out there.
I appreciate it.
Hell has not always been. Hell was created when the Israelites was out in the wilderness. In fact, it said, God himself said, a fire is kindled in me. And then he goes through the process of explaining. I'll send the verses to you when we get off, where you can read it for yourself. So being that it was created, and then by the time you get over in the Revelation, it says that hell had enlarged itself. That means that God didn't create hell for everybody anyway. But there's so many people choosing it because it's a lifestyle. Well, what do you mean by lifestyle? Well, people get used to living in hellish ways here. So they don't really want to change going into the hell that's set to come. So hell is going to continue to enlarge itself because hell has manifested itself here. So it's the same thing. So the people that are here trying to do good and trying to live good and just trying to be good within themselves, they're few and far in between. And it's harder for them because you got light and darkness, and light and darkness don't have no mix. And that's how hell really is. It's darkness. It's the darkness of what you're going through. So my hell may be, if I wanted to live that life, my hell may be one thing, but for you, your hell may be different. So let's say someone who's a rapist, his hell may be seeing someone that he wants to take advantage of, but never can. So it burns him that he can never do it. Wow. He's within reach, but can never do it. That's hell. So there's people who's going to literally transition from this life into the next and be in situations like that, and is going to burn forever because they won't have no way of actually changing their conscience and their continence. They won't have no way in changing that. So you're going to burn forever in the thing that literally separates you from God. That's what hell is. It ain't God finna drop all of us into just some place to actually just burn up and all that. No. In fact, even in Revelation, he says hell is going to be gathered up. So hell ain't even people's final resting place. I wonder if that's being preached. Hell ain't the final resting place. Hell is going to be gathered up and thrown into the bottomless pit.
Okay, I'm
going to send you that when we get off, too.
I appreciate that. Also, I got to ask you this, too, because we talk about blacks in the Bible, excuse me. But I know people say, well, the blacks of today are the original Jews. Do you believe that, or is that true?
Those are some of my Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah, you said it right.
Yeah, I've had my run-in with them as well. A lot of them brothers, I think a lot of their direction though is kind of misappropriated. But I get where they're going, but I think it's really a lot of it's misappropriated. First of all, we got to understand that Jewish is more so a belief structure. That's not really a person. See, Hebrew is different than Jew. Hebrew were the people. Hebrew was actual language. Jew is something that came later with the Babylonians.
Okay.
That was just a belief structure. So when they try to assimilate and say that they're the same thing, well, I think what they've done is they mixed up a lot of that stuff and that's what getting biblical Black history where they help you, because they won't dispute that Africa after the flood was settled by Cush and his sons. The first world king was Nimrod, black man.
Mm-hmm.
His Cush means black face. He had a son named Nimrod, so you can imagine what his son looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Black man. So when you go through the process of looking at how we spread, how belief structure spread, not religion, but belief structure spread, then yes, there's a huge element to us being here in this country as being the Hebrews. I'm not going to say Jews, because that's belief structure. You can take a white guy and he say he Jewish. Okay, that's cool. But can he say he Hebrew? No, he can't say that. Because Japheth, or Yafeth, he settled Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So a white, and they settled in that area. It even says in Genesis, it says that Yafeth, when Noah was giving his blessings to his sons, he said Shem and Yafeth will share tents, which means they're going to settle amongst each other. So you got Europeans that settled among lighter skinned people. And so when you look at that area, people see lighter skinned people and think, oh, well, that must mean that's who the Jews are. No. If they have a belief structure, yes. But do you mean Hebrew? And that's a different thing. Because
you could be Hebrew and not be Jewish, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. It's like they don't teach you. See, that education thing is important. They don't teach you this in school, though. That's not about education anyway. It's about indoctrination into a system.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't know that, though. People think that Jews are a race.
Yep.
But it's a religion. Judaism.
Yep. Look, and it's so, and here's the crazy thing, brother. Jesus looking out for you. He said in Revelation, and for those of you who listen to this, man, just pause for a second and look this up. Jesus says in Revelation, there are a group who call themselves the Jews, and they are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. He said that. That's in red print in both your Bible and mine. So there's a lot of people out here that's claiming to be some, man, that they're not. And Jesus helps all of us out from 2,000 years ago to set the record straight. Like, yeah, it's gonna be a whole bunch of people saying that they rock with us like that, and they ain't really that. Some of them gonna even claim to be Jews, which means belief structure, and they're not really that.
So but it call you anti-Semitic when you tell you that, when you say that, when you actually. I heard people speak on that, and I researched. I said, that's interesting. But if you say that, they gonna crucify you when you tell the truth about their situation.
Yeah. And the funny part about it, and I can handle that, because like Baba taught us, if you call me billionaire, that don't make me one.
Right, that's true.
So you call me anti-Semitic, and that don't make me one. All I ask people to do, man, is to actually find the information. What you feel is what you feel, and I'm okay with that, because what I feel is what I feel. But that ain't got nothing to do with what it is. If we both can sit down and read the exact same book, and I can read the exact same words, regardless of your interpretation, the words are there. So if you call me anti-Semitic for telling the truth or something, then that's not on me.
It's also what I think about the Minister Farrakhan's so-called social media censorship. But he's still out there. You still can get his message, which is interesting. But he talks about that. He was bold about, the synagogue of Satan and all the history, or even talk about the secret relationship between blacks and Jews, like about the slave trade and all this stuff in the books that Nation of Islam produced over the years. But I think we've been programmed to go on our feelings, not to think. They want us to, how you feel about so-and-so, how you feel about this. It's all about emotions. It's not about logic or trying to be objective or analytical.
Yep. That's how you dumb people down, man. Mm-hmm. And it works. It's in the music. It's on billboards. Yep. It's in schools. It's everywhere. And it's working. Again, the concept, all of this stuff has been set up, man. And regardless of what people believe, and this is called a spade. If anybody's sitting down thinking that this world going to continue on the way that it is and just go like that into perpetuity, it's something wrong with you, to the point to where they already got you. They just do. It's call a spade a spade. They just do. It can't keep going on like this, man. But There's people out there, man. There's light in this dark place. There's light in this dark place, man. And the reminder of that is at nighttime, when the lights go out, brother, he allows a light to shine. Now, I want you to catch this because you my man, and I know you're going to get it. I want grandmama to get this.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, if you just pause for a second, let's say it's cloudy or whatever at night, and you can't even see the stars that he put out to remind you that you are light.
Mm-hmm.
He leaves the moon, and they say that the moon don't produce light. And I'm going to send you something to show that that's a lie, too, just based off of the elements that they have there. But let's say that there's no light coming from the moon. You can still look up there and see enough light off of it to be able to know that it's there. How does that work? How does the same God that created the sun, the moon, and the stars be smart enough to say, I'm going to give you a light to rule the day and one to rule the night? And it's never changed. No matter where you are on this planet, you're going to always see the sun. And even if ain't no moon up, the moon is up. Even if you can't see the moon, it's there. And even if you can't see none of that, you still going to know, you still going to see the stars. There's still going to be something up in the sky, no matter where you are, to give you light. Even up in Alaska, when they can't see nothing, he allows the aurora lights to come through and light up the clouds to kind of make it look like a kid's coloring book in the sky. So, like, we are that light. And so and I'll just give you this, in the book, in the first one, I go through the process of proving that we are literal stars. Now, when I put this in the book, CNN came out like a year and a half later and validated that we are actually made of stardust. I put it in my documentary. I put the dates when I actually released this book, and then I put when Fox News, CNN, and CSNBC, all these different people, they just start running this special of we actually may be made of stardust and all this stuff. Well, all of this is perfect because when you go outside and you look up and be like, wow, we are made of stars. NASA scoops up stardust. 40,000 tons fall to the earth every year. And when it gets scooped up, you know what happens? They test it. And 99.8% of all stardust, if they go out to a grave and scoop up somebody, it's the exact same particles.
Wow.
The exact same particles. And so what we can't do, we downplay it and say, well, no, that can't be true because we ain't lit up. But wait a minute. Have you seen a woman when she get pregnant? That's because she got 2 stars in her. That's why she glows.
Read my mind.
Have you ever seen 2 stars get ready to combine? All you got to do is Google 2 stars colliding, NASA, and Google Images will show you that 2 stars coming together or in close proximity shines brighter than 1 star. But we can't see each other just like stars can't see each other. So he put those stars up there as a reminder to us that we are the light in the dark place. You don't know how deep the darkness is. Neither do I. We don't know how deep the darkness is on this planet. No one does. But as long as you hold that light that you have in you, man, you are that star. So imagine what the angels are doing when they sit down and they look at us. They see us the same way that we see the stars, but because we've never really been taught that and don't have the scientific proof behind that, we don't believe it. Well, now you got a problem because now there's a book, now there's information out there that proves it to you that you are made of stardust. So when Jesus said that you are the light of the world, he wasn't just saying that to say that. That is a scientific fact, but I digress.
Wow, that's amazing. So how can we get a copy of the Biblical Black History by you, sir? Where can people get this book?
It's on every Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Goodreads. If you anywhere around the world and you can get to a library or any global library where you can buy a book, it's in there.
And how can people get in touch with you, like to reach out, powerful, like interviews or speaking engagements?
My Facebook is my name, CJ Wilson. CJ Wilson. You can put in Biblical Black History. It'll pop up. You'll see a black dude with my Carolina Panthers jersey on. That's the only thing football related on there. That's just a marketing ploy to get you to know, okay, that's that football guy.
Right.
I also have a website you guys can go to. It's literally www.biblicalblackbooks.com. My goal is to create an encyclopedia of biblical black information
Wow.
We don't keep encyclopedias in our house no more. Well, I'm about to change that. I'm going to change that. And I'm doing it for my daughter, so I'm going to share it with the world as well. So if something ever happened to me, she'll be able to have information that can help redirect her to who she is and where she comes from. She will not be lost. So biblicalblackbooks.com, you can go on there and read. There's different things on there. You can click on it. It'll take you right to those sites. Amazon, Barnes & Noble's Book Baby, just whoever that sells it. You can buy the book. I think it's only $5. I'm not trying to overcharge this, man. Yeah. But yeah, you can get it there. The next book that I literally just finished, I think it was like last week, Brother Hurt, I sent you an excerpt from it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tour on this one. And this one here, man, is Biblical Black History, the Exodus. Brother, this one, I'm telling you the whole story. Not with everything that's in the book and everything that's not. Everything, I just put it like that, everything about the Exodus. I tell you who the Pharaoh was, who Moses' adopted mother was, all of Moses' names, the lie that they said he had a speaking impediment, he didn't. His tongue was actually burned. I give you all of that. I explain for the viewers, because when you hear about the Exodus story, you only hear it from the Hebrew point of view. Well, I give you the Egyptian point of view. All of the gods associated, who they actually prayed to, because the Egyptians, the Africans, didn't know who Jehovah was. So they actually worshiped different gods when the plagues came. I give you all of that, man. And then I correlate it to kind of let people understand that I don't call it the Exodus because of the actual biblical story. I call it the Exodus because it's a blueprint for us to leave our personal slavery. You got to exit. That's what Exodus means. You got to exit the personal slavery. I'll leave you with this. I'll leave you with this. When the story is told, and the Ten Commandments got it wrong, they come on ABC, all that's a lie. Ramses wasn't a Pharaoh. No. He wasn't born for 130 years later. He wasn't a guy.
Okay.
I'm going to give you, and in the book, I'm going to give you who Moses actually got his name from. He was actually nicknamed the Child of the Nile. He was worshipped as a demigod. That's why he was welcome in front of Pharaoh. Half man, half God.
Interesting.
But anyway, yeah. When they left out of Egypt, they were still in Egypt by the time Pharaoh was actually trying to find them. I even give you the stuff in the book to show you where they crossed it. They didn't cross the Red Sea like all of these different stories and stuff like that put out there. They crossed at the Straits of Tiran. And when they actually got over to the other side of the Red Sea, when the waters back engulfed them all, they was in Midian at that point, which means that they legally were free. See, God first set them free literally. It wasn't until they crossed over the Red Sea that they legally became free. And then he had to go through the process of psychologically setting them free. That's where the 40 years come in at. When you're dealing with 430 years of slavery, you psychologically are indoctrinated to be a slave. That's why they kept wanting to go back. So how does that apply to a day? You got people right now that you giving information to. When you called me, I was listening to the Judge Joe Brown interview you did 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's people. Yeah, there's people who will literally hear what we just said and look at the hundreds of interviews and clips and stuff that you have and something to tell them, this brother is trying to lead me to freedom. And some of them will still be like, nah, I want to still be a slave. And if you say to them, man, we act just like the children of Israel, they'll disassociate and say, no, that was thousands of years ago. Not realizing they looking in the mirror.
All right.
They prefer to sharecrop than to set free. So you keep doing what you're doing, brother. I'm available whenever you need me. Like I said, Biblical Black Books is the site. You can hit me up on Facebook, DM me. Don't really matter. I'm available. The truth is got to come out. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid of what comes with it. And thank you for being the power and the presence that you are, man, making this stuff possible. I love you to life. I ain't never even mentioned I love you to life for this. Forget that.
I know
love you to life.
I appreciate it. We love you madly, too. I receive your spirit. You got a great spirit about you. But I got to ask you a cowboy question. I got to ask you, so you brought up Zeke. I tried not to say his name when you brought Zeke up. And, he trying to become the highest paid running back in the game. I mean, he's a great running back. He's a talent, amazing talent.
Yeah.
But what's your take on that? Should Jerry do it, or you think that the perception of Zeke in the media has hurt his chances of being the face or a franchise player with that money?
I think they should have paid Zeke last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this: I'm scared. I'm very concerned for him because Zeke ain't free, and Zeke is that kid, is that young man that can set so many different people free. But to him, freedom is being able to go whenever I want. That's not freedom. That's why his name keep coming up in the news, is because he's the glorified one that don't have to pick like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And they give him things. And he look at it like, man, I can go buy this biggest house and all of this. We ain't learned yet, man. Young men like him, and I don't even know him personally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I pray for him, though. But I would, for someone who knows Ezekiel Elliott, and I pray someone's listening, that you know, and I can reconnect and all that, but I like where I am with this. If somebody let Zeke see that Michael Jackson had all that money and still wasn't free, I hope it resonates to him, bro. You got to change some things, because if not, all that money ain't gonna do nothing but make you a glorified one of them. That's all. Yeah, you don't have to go out there and feel like the rest of them. I psychologically still got you, because all I still got to do is just throw a couple of women at you, and you're going to fall for that. And it works. A lot of his issues has to do with anger and women. So what happens when the lights go off? What happens when you stop getting them checks? You going to still try to live that same lifestyle? Nah, man, they're going to make a special about you. People are going to laugh at you. But when you don't have nobody in your ear, man, telling you what's real, telling you to keep it 100, then you're going to keep doing the same thing, because you're going to feel like you're right. Even Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, had a slave boy behind him when he would go through the streets saying, "You only a man." When they was having a parade because he won another battle, he would always hire a slave. The Emperor Rome would hire a slave to remind him that he was a man. I wonder if Ezekiel Elliott got that.
Wow. That's deep right there. And I do like also this perception of, like, you know, black athletes, you know, getting with white women. I mean, is that based, like, is that true, or is it over exaggerated?
Oh no, it's definitely true.
Okay.
That's the first thing you get through, man. Yeah, they don't throw black women at you like that.
Are you married to a black woman, baby? Are you married to a black woman?
Oh, absolutely. Come on, bro.
I don't know, man. That's why I asked the question. Like, but is majority of the brothers married to black women, or they mess with black women, or they mess with white women, or other women? Are the majority of the players?
It depends on where you. I put it like this. You gonna laugh when I say this.
Okay.
It depends on where you are in the game that you playing. If you get one that's doing something that you ain't never had done before, or if you get one that literally know how to say the right things to you, or if you get one that then hit you with that "I'm pregnant" thing and got the right doctor to document some stuff, or got a family member that's a doctor that can document some stuff for you,
wow.
Yeah, you right off the rip, you going in that direction. If you want the path of least resistance, they gonna go in that direction. And some of them will play that role until they get tired of playing, and then they'll go and get them a sister. They don't understand the power of the black woman. I just put it like this, and Baba said it. They call her Mother Earth for a reason, man. If God formed man of the dust of the ground, and he pulled woman from his rib, and I have the thing in the documentary that's actually been proven out at USC and UCLA. But if you really understand that and understand Mother Earth all over the earth, she looks a certain way, and it is that black woman. And understand the power that she has. She can have any baby, any color baby on this planet. Guys don't want to do that because that's a power you can't control. Ain't nothing shaped like Earth. They talk about new Earths and all that stuff, man. Let's not be fooled. All that stuff out there, no doubt about it. But let's not be fooled. We not there for a reason, because we don't appreciate this one. Now, we ain't actually doing what we supposed to do, because we don't appreciate our women like that. That black woman ain't been appreciated, and ain't nothing shaped like her. Everything on this planet, the Kardashians on down, all of them want to be shaped like her, but don't want to go through what she go through. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite or a fool and try to make myself seem like something that I'm not. I fell in love with a black woman. I've only been with black women. I've never been with a white woman. I've never dated a white woman. I had no interest in dating a white woman. And that's not to take anything away from them. It's just that I want to add something to our black women. She's beautiful as she is. If I don't understand her, I just need to humble myself and then just try to chase her. What's wrong with that? Instead of going to go look for something for the path of least resistance, man, I'm not finna do that. My wife, outside of my mom and my grandmother, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not even talking about how she looked. I'm just talking about who she is. So for me, I heard Harriet tell me, I'm not finna act like, I don't respect what black women go through. No, I'm gonna shut my mouth and learn. That's what I'm gonna do. And learning is an element of love. So that's where some of them brothers get it mixed up at. If I'm already doing what I need to do and it's free and it's easy, yeah, I'm finna tap into it. And that's what they do. I don't advise it. I can't tell you who to love or whatever, but sometimes that's a lack of self-love and self-respect. You don't like who you looking at in the mirror. And then it's somewhat disrespectful to your own mom. Who more beautiful than her?
Yeah, well, great. You're going to win with the ladies on this one. The black women, man, you know how to put them words to use, man. You got to gift the tongue. So thank you so much, Brother Wilson. You can find him on biblicalblackbooks.com. Pick up his latest, Biblical Black History, a bestseller on Amazon.com. And we're definitely going to have Brother Wilson on back again very soon. Thank you so much, Brother Wilson, for sharing some time with us to impart that knowledge and wisdom to our people to amplify it.
Oh, man. Thank you, man. News free. Dixie for the 21st century, baby. Live in the living color. There it is.
That's right. Thank you so much. And words do get. We love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing, sir. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Love you
too. Thank you.